Hey guys, Kid here of Burn 1 with the Vivid Strike deck profile. This deck is focused more on the 8 bar build. I know there's a lot of Japanese lists running around, running blue and red mostly. That build is alright, but I enjoy this build way more. And I think most of the Western players kind of build this way. It's probably not that different from any other deck profile you've seen from Vivid Strike as far as decks go on the Western side of the world. So let's get right into it. This is the full deck itself. The deck is mostly has an all-in game plan on the 3/2 Fuuka that comes in early. This card's pretty deadly. What I like about this card, in my opinion, it's a pretty fair card overall. But what I like about it most is once you play it, it puts your opponent on basically a 3-turn clock. If they don't deal with the card in the next 3 turns, you generally just kill them after that from like even 3-0 for the most part. And the deck overall is pretty fun. The one downside, of course, is running 8 gold bar. At least it has a few good discard mechanics for the gold bar, which is alright, but there's still like a lot of unknown that goes on, especially when you start playing the 3/2 Fuukas and you start getting markers on them, and it ends up like marking a bunch of climaxes, which usually isn't a problem since you're trying to kill them within the next 3 turns anyway. So let's get into the level 0 game. Here we go with, first we run 4 of the level 0 Rinne. It comes into play. You top check if it's, I believe, they translate it as melee or fighting character, basically. You can add it to hand and discard a card, which is basically every character in the deck has that trait. Next, it has the effect of when this card goes to the waiting room, you can discard a card from your hand to summon the 1065 Rinne beater from your waiting room. This way it makes it so when this card does get removed, you can like ditch a gold bar to summon a 1/0, which isn't that bad, or ditch anything else you want. So it adds a lot of decent hand fix utility for the card. Next we run 4 of the Fuuka 00 Riki. The card on your turn gains 1000 power, which is actually relevant for this deck because of the supports we run. So at 0 you're able to kill things with this Riki. And then also, the Riki effect on play, pay 1, clock yourself 1 from the top of your deck, and then search your deck for a level 1 or lower card and add it to your hand. Generally, we're looking to pull out the Brainstormer, which is one of the most important things to get early on, because if you don't get this early on, you'll get really, really sad. Next, we look for like the 1/0 combo or any other support cards that we need. Next in the middle there, we have the 0/0 runner. It's just a 1k runner. It has on play, you must mill to the top 2 cards of your deck. If there's a climax among them, you pick a card or you cause your opponent to mill their top card of their deck, then you pick a card in their waiting room and put it on top of their deck. This card is actually pretty decent early game and late game. Early game, you hit a climax when you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, and so you get to pick a card or you get to mill the top card of your opponent's deck. Generally, what you want to do is throw a climax back on top of it. That way, your opponent's kind of stuck at 0 a little bit longer than you are, especially if this is turn 2 of the game for you. That way, one of your 2 attacks cancels basically. That way they're stuck at 0, like I said, which can be annoying for some decks. And then late game, when this goes off, you can sometimes maybe snipe a climax from the top of their deck or something like that, which is always good. That way the first card on top of their deck is always clean, so it'll go through. Or also, if you want to make sure you get a certain card into their clock so it's harder for them to get it or salvage it or whatever you want to do. There in the bottom middle there, it's the Brainstormer. Brainstormer is a little special. The first effect is whenever you trigger a gold bar, you can pick a card in your clock, or first you discard a card from your hand, then you pick a card in your clock, add it to your hand, then take the top card of your deck and put it to clock. This is one of the main outlets to get rid of gold bars from your hand, since your hand can get crazy climax flooded, because running 8 gold bars is pretty annoying sometimes like that. The secondary effect is the Brainstorm. It's pay 1, tap itself, mill the top 4. If you hit one of the gold bars, you can search for a character, add it to your hand, and then give one of your characters on the field 1000 power until the end of the turn. Sometimes use that extra 1000 power to just like get over some small things and stuff like that. But generally, we run this Brainstorm because we basically have to, running 8 gold bars, and also this Brainstorm specifically searches for those 2 gold bars when you do Brainstorm. Next, top right hand corner there, we run 4 of this Reinhardt support. It has tap, give one of your melee characters 1500. So this makes it so your Ricky becomes 4K and your level 0 Rinne hand filter is 3K on your turn. It also makes your runner 2-5, which is not that relevant sometimes. But the second effect is the important part, is whenever one of your Fuukas with a marker gets reversed, you can pay 1, put this card underneath as a marker, and then rest that Fuuka. This way it saves your level 3 if they reverse it, and it's also a good way to gain an extra damage at the end of the game if they reverse it the turn before you're going to go off. A lot of times people run it, kill your level 3 without having a way to send it off the field before it gets reversed. So it ends up building, this card ends up building 1 more damage for you, which is great and awesome. And also throughout the game, it does give you extra 1500 power bump, which is great. Final card we play as a 1-of. It's only for specific matchups. It makes the center card untargetable on turns where you have the 3-2 Fuuka early play out, and you want to make sure you can front attack to kill something and not have to deal with counters that kill higher level characters than you currently are. You just play this in the front row or even the back row, honestly, and then make sure the Fuuka's in the center slot so they can't get rid of it that way. Next, our level 1 game here. Top of hand corner there is 4 of the Rinne 1065, so can't front attack things bigger or higher level than it. It's the early play card. It's really good. What can I say? 6-5 base is great. If with the counter on the right, we run 2 of the 102k counters. Counter with this, it becomes 1085, which is generally 500 over what most decks kind of have for their level 1 reverse search combo, so you can kind of deny that way. Next, on the bottom there is the Reinhardt 4 of on play, gains 1500, so it's a 1065 on, or 106k on play. Then climax combo with 1 of the gold bars you have. When it versus battle opponent, search for a character, add it to your hand. Costless plussing combo, always good, decent size too. Can get buffed by the 0-0 Reinhardt, so it becomes 8-5 when it attacks, which is great. Next, some level 2 cards here we run. I run 2 of the 2-1 Fuuka support. It's global 1k, and then it has whenever you trigger gold bar, you can give one of your characters 1k till the end of your opponent's turn, which is nice whenever that happens sometimes. And then the next effect is whenever you play a character up to twice per turn, you can look at the top card of your deck and leave it there or put it on the bottom of your deck. It's a good way to check triggers and then also see ahead of time what you're going to be marking under your 3-2 Fuuka. And also if you see a climax there and you need a plus, it lets you keep it on top and then brainstorm it so you can plus from there. I do run 2 of it. I think it's a strong card in my opinion, but I might be cutting 1 of them. Generally, you only play it whenever your opponent kills your Fuuka and you put the 0-0 Reinhardt support underneath it, and then you play this the next turn. Then we run 1-2-1 Fuuka. It has a climax combo we don't run, and then whenever this card gets reversed, you can send things to clock, whatever higher level than your opponent to clock, and then remove the top card of their clock and put their whatever battle opponent this is higher than the opponent's level to clock. Basically run this just for the mirror match, so we can get rid of our opponent's 3-2 Fuukas. Might want to bump this up to 2, not really sure yet, but it's a solid card in the mirror match. Otherwise, it's pretty dead in most other matchups because usually your early plays can beat whatever they have. And then also, we run 1 of the 2-1 blue counter there. It's pay to sack a character, kill a higher level than your opponent. It's another way to get rid of Fuukas and things like that. It sends directly to waiting room. Next, our level 3 game. We run 4 early play Rinne. Basically, this card is just there to stabilize at 2 when we can. It's our healer of choice. It's overstatted. It gains 500 for every other character. Or no, it gains 1,000 for every character in the back row. So it becomes 11k, overstatted, early player, heals. Very solid card all around. Next, we have 4 of the Fuuka. The main game plan for the deck is the Fuuka, so we're going to have it at 4. That comes into play early if you have 4 more other characters on the field. when it attacks, you look at the top card of your deck. You can put it underneath as a marker, and then it gains 1,500, I believe, for every marker it has. And then climax combo with the other gold bar. On attack, pay 2, remove all the markers underneath from it, and then deal 1 damage for every marker underneath, and all those damages is increments of 1, which is really strong to end the game. Generally, most game plans is you fill the board with like 1 to 2 Fuuka at level 2, have them build up some markers, and then kill your opponent in like 2 to 3 turns after if you've played them. It's a really devastating combo if your opponent can't deal with it within the next like 2 to 3 turns. Usually they're dead, especially if they're already at level 3. And finally, we play one of the Reinhardt. It's a clock kick. When it reverses the battle opponent, you can discard 2 character cards, I believe, from your hand to send them to send whatever reverses the clock. Gains 500, I believe, for every other character, so it's just 1,100 clock kick. And then it has on play, look up to top 3 cards, add 1 to hand, and discard the rest. Basically, we only use this card really to find the climax combo when we really need it. Sometimes, even though you run all these gold bars and ways to grab them, it just becomes really annoying if you whiff really hard and don't get it. I've won a couple games where I had to aggressively search for the 3-2 Reinhardt to be able to play it and find the gold bar off the top 3 to win the game. Otherwise, I was dead at the end of that turn. Let's go ahead and look at the whole deck again. The deck itself runs pretty great. There's a lot of really cool synergies I like in here. I know there are some builds that run the 2-1, basically Sayaka's Wish. I don't really like that card that much in this deck because I'm looking to be able to play the level 0 Rinne to top check, add things to my hand, and filter more easily. And also, if I reveal a climax on top, I just can brainstorm that way. Whereas if I have events in my deck and I reveal an event, it doesn't really dig me 1 card deeper at all. So it makes my brainstorm still 4. I don't get a hand filter at all whenever that happens either, which I think is kind of annoying. And then whenever I play one of these level 0 Rinnes, it basically makes my brainstorm reveal top 4 cards of my deck, or guarantee me at least 1 hit if I reveal a climax. The deck itself runs pretty great. You're pretty all in on, like I said in the beginning, on the game plan of playing multiple Fuukas and winning the game through that. If that ever becomes a matchup where you just lose both your Fuukas, or you can only play one and you keep losing it over and over again before you hit 3, the game becomes really, really hard to win. Last couple tournaments or games I've played with this, I've basically, as long as I've been able to protect the Fuuka, I've won the game. And the 1 or 2 games where I wasn't able to protect it, I just like fell apart at the end. All I could do really was heal and pray that I'm not going to die to climb, just taking damage. Overall, the deck's pretty solid. Like I said, though, possibly 1 card looking to cut maybe is one of the 2-1 Fuuka supports. Possibly put in a 4th runner. I'm not really sure. I kind of like the runner at 3, especially since we're not running red that much. We need more blue in the clock. That way we can play our 1-0s and our 3-2 Rinnes. Outside of that, deck is super solid. I love it. Well then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you like this one, go ahead and comment, like, subscribe, all that great stuff. Later.